Razabani for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. With me on Zoom today, former world champion Liam Smith. Liam, how are we doing?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Enjoying the sunshine, the spring.
Yeah, enjoying the spring, enjoying the positive people who are, people seem to be out and about now that lockdown slowly but surely getting lifted a little bit. But it's good to see, obviously, the weather coming back into it and people being a little bit upbeat rather than, down in the dumps.
The sun does make a big difference to your mood and mentality, doesn't it? It's
It
mad.
does, especially in this country. It does, mate. We don't get much of it, so when the sun's out, people make the most of it in this country.
No, absolutely. Liam, want to jump straight into it. We saw Canelo Alvarez return back into the ring. Only 9 weeks out since he fought, obviously, your brother Callum against Avni Yildirim. Everyone expected Canelo to win. What did you make of his performance?
Just dominance, just levels, just proved as how good he is, and kind of proved what everyone thought, that he was made for Canelo. Yildirim, sorry mate, I'm just saying this off. He just proved Yildirim was made for Canelo. Stylistically wise, Yildirim was gonna come. I know a lot of people thought Yildirim would come with a little bit more pressure than he did, but regardless, I just think stylistically wise, he was made for Canelo, and Canelo just seems to be getting better and better, like I've said before.
Are we witnessing greatness? Are we witnessing a legend, a future Hall of Famer? Is that what's in front of us right now in Canelo?
Definitely, yeah, in my eyes, yeah. You see that picture going round. My grandfather told me about Chavez. You know, blah. My dad told me about whatever, and I'll tell my kids about Canelo Alvarez, and I think that's coming into fruition. He's just, like I say, he's getting better and better, and he's only 30 years of age. I want to say only. People think because he's been around a long time, fourth division world champion, that he could be coming to 35, 36 like Mayweather was when he become that era. But he's still in his prime, and by the looks of it, he's getting better and better, and he's getting more ambitious than ever. He's still trying to break records, create history, and good on him. Good on him. Somebody of that stature and that the high caliber, and money wise, good on him wanting to stay active. If you look at it now, he got out the ring last night, and all being said, I know he doesn't struggle making 168, but he's got to make a decision now. How long does he have off? How long does he have off now? He's got 10 weeks now till he fights Billy Joe, and does he have 2 week break? Does he have a 1 week rest? It's interesting to see, but you've got to take your hat off to him. He's the biggest draw in world boxing at the moment, and he's still wanting to be that active.
He got a lot of criticism from fans to say, who is this Yildirim guy? Why is he your mandatory? But in all fairness to Canelo, if he really, really wanted to, he could have delayed Yildirim and fought him in May. He obviously fought Callum. 9 weeks later, he fights Yildirim, gets his mandatory out the way, which opens the doors to mega fights in May and September.
Yeah, but look, I think people are looking. I think that's unfair, and I've criticised him in the past for avoiding Golovkin at that time. But on this occasion, I can't criticise him because he had to, and we knew, if Callum beat Canelo, that fight would have had to have happened. The WBC title got put on the line for Callum and Canelo on the basis of the winner has to defend against Avni Yildirim within 90 days or 120 days, and people don't see that side of like maybe contracts or agreements. And if he wants to be a 4 division champion, he had to fight Yildirim, a 4 belt champion. Otherwise, he had to would have had to vacate. And you can say, oh, the WBC would not strip Canelo. Maybe so, but I just think good on him. He's just thought, what, I'll fight my mandatory. It's another fight. I'm staying busy. And it's not Canelo's fault that Avni Yildirim was his mandatory. The argument should be pointed at, why is Yildirim mandatory challenger? He hasn't won a fight for, 2 years. I think his last fight, he lost to Anthony Dirrell. That I'm presuming that was his last fight, and I think he's failed the drug test since then. So it's not nothing to do with Canelo. It's to do with why was Yildirim still mandatory challenger at that point. Canelo's just done what he was told to do.
Liam, you obviously fought Canelo 6 odd years ago now. Obviously, Callum fought him a couple of months ago. Everyone was hopeful that Callum, with his size, reach, with his jab, power, big for the weight, would cause Canelo problems. Obviously, after the fight, when you've obviously sat down with Callum, I know he was devastated. It's all good planning outside the ring. Obviously, in the ring, it becomes a different fight at times. But what was kind of Callum's assessment when you kind of sat down together as brothers?
Again, we haven't sat properly recently, but just after how good he was, how Callum said a big thing was Callum was how quick and easy he closes the gap. You know, with his feet and his pressure. Callum noticed that straight away. Um, he's just a very good fighter. I've tried to justify it. Sometimes you've got to just take your hat off to elite fighters like him. He's in a category of his own, you know, with a slight few who are as good as he is. You know, there's world class fighters and there's elite fighters, and he is elite for me. And you know, you have to just applaud that sometimes. Obviously, you don't want to applaud it and be in awe of losing because nobody likes losing, and you know nobody wants to lose. You know, some people are happy to lose, some aren't, and you know we're cut from that cloth that I'm not happy to lose. I don't care how good you are, but in his defence, you've got to say how good he is, and the more you couldn't convince me when I lost to him. You couldn't have made me. You couldn't comfort me and say, "Look, you've lost to a very good fighter today," because I told you where to go. I didn't care. But then now, you know, 4 or 5 years on, you're looking and just thinking, you know, there's no shame in losing to him. The way I lost to him, also there was no. And I think, you know, maybe my performance went as bad as I thought when I'm looking at fighters now with bigger attributes, you know, bigger size advantages than I had. You know, obviously these fighters getting in with Canelo now was Canelo getting in with me. If you know, in a size advantage, you know, he was a lot bigger than me muscle wise, and he's just getting better and better. My point is he's getting better and better, and I can't see anybody beating him unless he tries to go a step too far.
Obviously, announced Billy Joe Saunders gets his shot. I know Billy, that fight was close to be made almost a year ago last year. A lot of people say Billy's style, being a southpaw, a slick boxer, will give Canelo problems. Do you feel like, and they also bring comparisons to that Lara fight. Now, obviously, that Lara fight was 7 years ago, and since then, Canelo is a completely different fighter. But does Billy cause him problems? Can Billy cause an upset?
Stylistically wise, he can, of course he can, you know, and he's got a style that no matter who you match Billy Joe with, that phrase will come into mind. He's got a style that can cause anyone problems, and you know, by all accounts, he should and he will cause problems, but I just don't think he will. I just think Canelo's that good a fighter now that he adapts. Obviously, the clarification and the you know like the point towards the Lara fight, you can justify. You know, Lara done very well with Canelo. All being said, Canelo's a lot better fighter now than he was then. You know, a few fighters were pushing him close then. You know, even Alfredo Angulo was having a bit of success with him. You know, Austin Trout, who's a southpaw but not a sharp southpaw like a Billy Joe or a Lara. So I just think you have to look at Canelo then and now. You know what I mean? And I touched on it before. I think he's getting better and better, and he's a lot better fighter now than he was back then. But Billy Joe, on paper, has got the style and all the attributes to trouble him. But you know, I think Canelo's that good a fighter now. I think he adjusts.
Everybody says Billy has the best chance. Billy's stepped up with Andy Lee. He beat him. It was a close fight, but he beat him. He then had a great performance against David Lemieux. Close fight with Chris Eubank Jr., which he won as well. But has Billy had enough of those top elite level fights to prep him for someone like Canelo?
No, but also he hasn't had many tough miles on the clock, Billy Joe. There's just loads of pros and cons to that question. You know, there's having Canelo in front of Billy Joe will make Billy Joe train, will make Billy Joe be in the best shape, will give Billy Joe fear. Billy Joe has to have all them things in his mind now because of the the goading and the slagging he's done with Canelo for over the past years. Billy Joe will not want to lose to Canelo after everything he's said over the past 4 years about Canelo Alvarez. So Billy Joe's got all on his mind, which is going to try and make the best Billy Joe turn up. And I was having Canelo Alvarez in front of you. It's got to make you try and turn up in the best shape possible. And but the cons is Canelo's fought the best of the best or every fight, and Billy Joe's hasn't really been as active as he can. So there's pros and cons, but the fight's on now. I think Billy Joe's wanted the fight for a long time, and Canelo gets a chance to become 3 belts out of the 4. Billy Joe also gets that chance, and Billy Joe gets the chance to prove what he said for a number of years now.
Okay, Liam, in terms of yourself, any updates? We know Eddie's got a packed schedule coming up over the couple of months ahead. Any updates on yourself and when you might be out?
Yeah, I'm waiting on a contract being finalised. I think I'm fighting in Russia on May the 8th, the same day, funny enough. But we're just waiting on the final bits of a contract coming through now, and hopefully it can be announced in the next couple of days. I think everything's, all systems go. I think we've agreed on nearly everything now, and hopefully it can be signed and announced in the next couple of days.
Yeah, what's the goal for you? What's left? You've become a world champion. You've been around a while, achieved a lot in the sport. What's kind of the goal? Is there a name? Is there a belt? Is there a person you're after?
There was names, but I might as well say names to brick walls. By all accounts, every name I've said has come into play and then drifted away. You know what I mean? And I got the Kelbrook fight was all but done supposedly. I went to Sheffield for this fight with Mark DeLuca. Done numerous interviews and then it just fell away. The same with Jesse Vargas. That seemed to be, on the table and then just seemed to fall away. So I'll concentrate on myself and myself only now. I'm not gonna. I've said with the Vargas situation, that's chip sale for me now. If he wants to come back on the table, then put it on the table. Don't be interviewing me about it and talking about Jesse Vargas to me again, because I've mentioned it enough times when people will be getting bored of it now. Fucking hell, is he still going on about Jesse Vargas? I don't want to be known as that. So rightly so, I've gone and took the book into my own hands, and me and my management team MTK and I've gone and we've made a fight. We'll go to Russia, and that puts me right back in the picture. I'm fighting an unbeaten Russian. He's in the same rankings. I'm number 3 with the WBO at 154. The titles are changing hands, and when you ask me what I feel I've got left in me, I feel I've definitely got another world title with the weight division I'm in and the champion that are around my weight. The titles are changing hands. It could again become wide open, but at the end of the year, depending on what Charlo does, Brian Castano's just beat Patrick Teixeira. There's no Canelo Alvarez in 154 now. There's no name who's just gonna take over the division. The titles, the WBO titles, just swapped hands again. Teixeira to, went from Munguia, Teixeira, Castano. So there's no one at 154 now that I think, oh, well, I can't beat him. So that's that. So I feel I've definitely got another world title in me, and I'll push towards that now. I know I'm in the autumn of my career. I'm 32, but I feel I've got a lot left to give, and it won't be for lack of trying.
A very young looking 32, I must say.
So
Liam, we look forward to the announcement on the opponent and the details in the coming weeks. Thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time. Stay well, stay safe, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you very, very soon.
nice one, mate. Thanks.
Liam Smith, IFL TV, thank you very much.